Today we're gonna remake the track called Inhale Exhale by Skrillex, Aluna and Kito. We'll take a deep dive into sound design, I'll show you how to create each of the bass sounds from the drop and much more right now. Let's start with the kick. I used a pretty standard trap kick from Excellent Sound sample pack. With no processing, it sounds like this. The kick in the original track is a bit saturated, but not too much, so I split the signal into two bands to keep the low end clean and only distort frequencies above 70 Hz. Here I have a clipper, a great free tool called FreeClip. I've set a threshold to -18 dB. This is because I use gain staging. In a nutshell, it's a method to control and adjust audio levels for better sound quality. So I set all the channels to about -18 dB, then process at low levels and add volume at the end after the mastering. Let's get back to the kick. I've added 15 dB of gain, Wintic mode. It's also a good idea to use oversampling, but it puts a lot of load on the CPU. Then transient shaper to shorten it, and one more transient shaper to shorten the whole kick with its low end. Reduce the brightness with an EQ, and a limiter to tame peaks, without the processing, and with it. For the snare I used one from the old Cymatics pack, shortened the tail, boosted the transient, and put a clipper to catch peaks, and send it to the reverb bus, which has a default preset from Verb Suite Classics, and an EQ for the VAT signal. Quite close to the original. I layered this with a clap, so together. For heads I used a pretty simple sound. The original heads is quite smooth, so I increased an attack and reduced the decay. Without and with. Head rolls, quite a standard sound for trap music. For fills I used a kinda ghost snare, kick rolls, some clanky sounds like in the original track, along with the other percussion. So all the drums together. Let's get to the basses. The first sound, disabling the processing. Also here is phase plant. So we have a sine wave phase modulated by another one, which is 1 octave higher, modulating the level with an envelope. Also glide is turned on and band range set to 1. A distortion, multipass, splitting the signal into two bands by 135 Hz, so we widen only mids and highs with chorus. A boost on the low mids, a clipper for saturation, and a high cut. In piano roll I've created a pitch automation. For convenience I extracted the instrumental and the acapella from the original track using this AI tool called Vocal Remover, so there is a rattling noise in the original track that sounds like an artifact as a result of clipping, I think. I tried to simulate that by creating the similar patch, sent it to a limiter and an OTT. Then I processed the rendered noise with a pen automation, a distortion, chorus, and a disperser for smoothing it. I also layered it with a texture processed with an EQ and OTT. Together with the bass. Next bass. Again phase modulation, also self-modulating the frequency, which adds fatness to the sound. Controlling the level and the filter cutoff with an envelope, modulating the frequency with a short envelope to add punch to the sound. Multipass with a foldback distortion and chorus for anything above 100 Hz. A filter, the resonance peak is notable here, then taming the lows, cutting the low mids, FreeClip, a low-pass filter to make the sound darker, and pitch automation as well. That's my favorite sound in this track. Here we have frequency modulation, but using the wavetable called pair FM21. The amount is controlled by two envelopes, so as a result we have a shape like this but with more control. An envelope for a punch and for a filter cutoff, multipass with a distortion, an EQ. And I sent it to the reverb bus, which consists of a transient shaper to smooth the attack before the reverb, while Howler is a reverb itself, and an EQ for the tail. This is a nice one also. The same principle here, a single envelope to control the phase modulation amount and the filter. A lot of distortions, holdback, saturate, multipass with a chorus and an overdrive, a filter, a distortion again. The filter cutoff is modulated by a macro, so it's automated. Also the slide in the piano roll. It required glide, legato, and this trigger mode of the envelope. taming the mid-range, and again a free clip. By the way guys, you can find all of the sounds and much more deep and fat basses in my new free preset pack for Faceplant called Skrillex Basses. All sounds inspired by the Skrillex latest albums. Check the description to download it for free. The next bass wasn't obvious to Remake. The first one is similar to previous ones, and this one is 2 octaves and a fifth higher. Kinda crossface modulation between them. The first one is also modulated by a sine which is 2 octaves higher, cutting the lows, a distortion, chorus, and the filter with the cutoff modulated. Also we use a separate sub-bass which is sent to lane 2, an envelope for a punch, an EQ to reduce brightness and tame the mids for the whole sound. Also a gain automation, without it, and with. This sound is based on the previous one, but with more phase modulation to get that noisy sound. The sub-bass is pretty similar, low cut, a modulated low-pass filter, a distortion, an EQ, and again automation for high-ends only. Looks like this. Also an EQ with a mid boost. We also have some 808s. The first one is again a phase modulated sine wave, I call it FM, but doesn't matter. An envelope for a punch, free clip, and an EQ. The second 808, quite similar, maybe a bit different values, and this overdrive, free clip, and an EQ. Also in the original track there is a background effect playing along with this 808. Here we have a sine wave, frequency modulated with an envelope, the phase modulated by a super high sine wave. Chorus, low cut, high cut, pitch automation, together with a bass. And the last 808, a punch, no phase modulation but a hard clip distortion, a modulated low cut filter. I also sent the band range to 24 for this pitch automation, the low cut, and the mid-range deep. Regarding the bass processing, I just put the multipass with dynamics below 110 Hz to control the low ends for all the basses. For a sidechain I split the bass signal into 2 ranges by 250 Hz. Both parts are sidechained from the kick using DAC plugin. You can see the settings for the lower range on the screen and for the higher range, so its attack time is shorter. Mastering is pretty simple. A low cut around 30 Hz, a glue compressor. I set the threshold to get around 2 dB of gain reduction, with a not too fast attack and a quick release, taming peaks with a clipper and invisible limiter. Let's compare the result with the original track. That's it, nothing complicated. Share in the comments what other sounds would you like me to remake. Don't forget to check my new preset pack for more basses. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.